Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about why the Northeast may possibly see a historic winter this year. And to some that may seem like clickbait, to some that may seem unreasonable, well actually it's been, I'll explain everything in this video, but there's actually quite a bit of evidence to back it up and quite a bit of reasoning to it. So consider subscribing if you watched this channel before and you're not subscribed yet for some reason. Consider liking the video if you like any aspect of this video. Please consider doing so. And consider leaving a nice comment. I read every comment, so thank you so much for doing that. Let's get on with the video. So right now we're looking at the GFS model. You may be wondering why we're looking at a GFS model. If you want us to show that the Northeast will see historic winter this year. This only goes out to 384 hours, so that's only several days. Well, the thing is, guys, I predicted earlier on. I don't know if you remember, but I called in I think it was my second or third winter. I think it was my second winter outlook. I called for a fall, October, November timeframe with nor'easters, and that was back in August. And lo and behold, if you look at the GFS now and the models that are showing this stuff, basically if you look at his stuff, you'll notice that there's nor'easters. I mean, look, there's one right there. This one's gonna be a big boy. We already had one last week. It didn't really affect it too much. It wasn't devastating. It did, though. It brought some coastal flooding and some heavy rain. It seems like this one may be a little bit worse with the heavy rain. You can see it's a classic nor'easter right there, and it just explodes right there by Maine and Nova Scotia. So that's already one, and that's not that's already two in the past week and a half. Then we look further towards the long range. This is next week. We could possibly be looking at another one just a little bit further up the coast. So this could still be a very impactful storm. And the point is that this is riding up the jet stream, and that's what we called last time I talked about the Northeast, because of that neutral Enzo and that warm, that possibly blocking pattern that will be going on with that warm water off Greenland and the warm water in the Gulf Coast of Alaska. So that's another one right there. And then here's yet another one. Look at that, yet another nor'easter possibly forming in the future. So and then possibly a fourth one in the making. So this is definitely coming to fruition. I called that the fall pattern would be I want to show you this actually now. And I want to talk about, let me go to present mode, and I want to actually talk about this to a little bit further extent. So basically what I did, sorry about that, what I talked about is, I basically, okay, so today's video is why the Northeast. Also, you hear the clock in the background. It's been an icon at this point. I don't know why it is, but it's sometimes I record the videos on pretty often actually around that the new hour, or whether it's 4, 3, 2 o'clock, is somewhere around that time always. So a kid will like if you like that clock. But you can see that this is the Enzo outlook. You may be wondering, why does this matter? Well, an Enzo neutral is forecast to occur. They're an Enzo neutral, the whole Enzo thing. That's all what's going on in the South American, off this western South American coast, so off the coast of Ecuador and Peru mainly. Those waters, whether they're below or above average, in this case they're not above or below, they're in between. It's a neutral pattern. You can see 85% chance through September, October, and this basically maintains itself. So as long as we keep seeing this pattern throughout the winter, we could be looking at some record-breaking nor'easters, possibly with great magnitude coming towards the northeast, if this pattern keeps up. And according to this, it does. And here's what a neutral pattern usually looks like. You can see the polar jet stream is diving through much of the U.S. and people bring this up. I bring this up in many videos. The reason for that is because this is just such a huge factor in what we're talking about this year. This is probably by far the greatest factor that we're looking at. By far the greatest factor in this year's winter that we're looking at, and I'm pretty confident about that. Of course, there are a lot of other factors that added up, compiled on top of each other, can be even more greater than what this is, but single-handedly, this thing is the biggest factor in this year's winter. So the Enzo neutral, you can see, would bring cold conditions across the Northeast, which would, be cold enough to produce the snow if these nor'easters formed. And look at that, nor'easters could go right through here like a disturbance, maybe not even a storm yet. Then it goes through the wet and warm conditions, kind of like a bacteria, just absolutely explodes. And then it could combine, if it's like a mega nor'easter, it could also combine with a system from the north, and these two can just explode into a giant system, and this thing could just spin and spin and just pound the northeast with tons of nor'easters. And I mean, it could be just ridiculous amounts of snow for the northeast. And even if this nor'easter or if the jet stream is a little bit in a different orientation, this could bring snow even further to the mid-Atlantic or even further south. Or it could be one of those storms like we had a couple of years ago where it rides literally from South Carolina all the way to the northeast, bringing snow all along the coast. So this is very exciting news for the northeast. If you are a snow lover, I mean, this winter could be mega good for you, like insanely good. And this is my full winter forecast that I was talking about. That was my second forecast of the year. And notice this was I think August, or late August, something like that, or even mid-August. I called for nor'easters across the winter, and I also had like a fall outlook, which I didn't include in this video, but I did, and I said, possibly nor'easters, especially rain and nor'easters, because obviously nor'easters now won't bring snow, even though they're often associated with snow. They won't bring snow now; it's too warm. But I called for that, and look, right now we're in the fall, October 14th. And it is just absolutely getting crazy with the northeast. We could be seeing storm after storm after storm. Very exciting. I mean, it's just so exciting when something so exciting happens that you predicted that was gonna happen. And now this is just one of the things where I admit I got it right, and I'm proud of that. But again, there's things that I haven't got it right in the past. Like for example, the September. I completely forecasted September wrong, but I forecasted this critical part for the northeast fairly accurately, and that's why I think I have a pretty good reason to say that when I think that this year the winter will be equally as filled with nor'easters. Obviously there will be phases where it's a little bit less, where it's a little bit more, but overall it will be a very nor'easter filled winter. And you can see this is what I called for, and that's what's basically happening right now, but just with the giant rain systems. And that's very exciting. So if you want to look at a final map kind of where I think the most snow will get absolutely laid out, this is what I'm thinking right now. Again, I just think that the northeast will be seeing a historic winter. This is more kind of for the fun of it, this aspect of it, basically. You can see New Jersey, especially eastern New Jersey, maybe not so western New Jersey. This, it definitely will change. This is not set in stone. I mean, not 110% of forecasts are not set in stone. That's why it's called a forecast, because it's a prediction. It's not, a answer or like an answer to the future. It's literally a prediction, and you're trying to guess, like, okay, so this plus this means that minus this. Okay, so reasonably we could be looking at this, and that's what I do with all my videos. And in this case, we have the neutral ENSO, the warm water off the coast of Alaska, the blocking pattern could form, and several other factors like the warm waters and the pattern we're already in right now. We could be looking at, a massive winter, and this is what I think right now. The Northeast, the Boston area, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Providence, Long Island, New York City, not New York State, really, just New York City, parts of New Jersey and parts of coastal Maine could be seeing the absolute brunt of winter. I mean, like many inches of snow, like a lot of snow, way above average. The darker blue color is still well above average, maybe just not as much as the pink, maybe, not as great snowfall amounts, with one or two snowstorms. Maybe a little bit light on the lighter side, still way above average, and that you can see includes all the way down to Dover and Maryland. So definitely Dover. I mean, Delaware. Dover's a capital. Maryland, and almost reaching down into Outer Banks of Northern California, North Carolina, sorry about that, and extending all the way into Maine, parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, New York. So that's definitely exciting, and I think this could be even more expansive if things come really to fruition and go exactly as planned. But I just decided to keep it on conservative side. But you could still see that these areas, this light blue is still above average, just not as much as these. So I'd say slightly above average snowfall, if still not well above average, honestly. And then these areas may see above average snowfall as well, but maybe not from the nor'easters. And what I mean by that is they may see above average snowfall from different features like Alberta Clippers or maybe lake effect snow, something like that, but maybe not necessarily nor'easters. But that this is still could be way bigger than the areas actually shown right now. And that's why I keep saying this winter may be like the 2013-24 winter. And for those that live in the Northeast, for those just that live in the eastern northern U.S., just remember 2013-2014. And if you don't, as of right now, if you were to look back at it, you'd be like, oh, I remember this. That was that one winter where it was super snowy, filled with cold and snow. So, yeah, guys, that's all I have for you today. I think this winter will be a historic one for the Northeast. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya. Bye.